Welcome. It is the Ski Bum Podcast, episode number 326. It is your pals, Mario and Brian. Mario, it's been a while. What's up?
Been grinding away, man. I tell you, work has beat me down. Life's been beating me down. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, is life beating the skiing out of me? I don't think it is, but it feels that way sometimes. Feels that way.
It's been a rough start to the season for us two here. It's just weather and people being sick. It's I know what they say about excuses, but it's just been tough for us. But you know, we're excited for a couple things coming down the road. Everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be a great season. When we look back at this in like May, we're gonna be like, you know what? We made it happen. It was a good time. We got to follow up our interview. Last time we had this wonderful podcast, we had part one of our interview with our pal Sam Weintraub from Peak Rankings. We're finally going to give you that second half that you were looking for. I know it's been a hot minute, but it's here. Don't worry, we got you.
Finally.
But thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate it. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. We're on the socials, Instagram, X, Facebook, YouTube, Untapped. You're at Ski Bum Podcast. Do you want to support the show? As you can tell, we need it. Patreon.com/Ski Bum Podcast. We got some different levels there. You can get on, you can help us out, you can hook us up. We'd really appreciate that. We're trying to make a few things happen, and being a patron would really get us pushed in the right direction. So please check it out. Patreon.com/Ski Bum Podcast. Got the shop. Got a few items on there, skibumpodcast.com/shop. You need some gear for après, for hanging out. Also, if you need stickers, it's sticker season.
Good
helmets,
stickers.
Laptops, whatever you got. Send us an email, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. We will hook you up. We'll send you some stickers. All you got to do, send us an email. Let us know. Say, I want some stickers. Boom. You got them. We'll send them out to you.
Boom.
Also, if you need some gear, you're still working out. You should still be working out. I know it's tough in January. No one wants to do anything. Just want to sit around.
Always be working out.
Got
fat over the holidays. You got to work out.
I ate 4 Stolens. I ate a couple bottles of eggnog. There was a day after Christmas. I think I ate like 50 cookies. I just went crazy. But you know what?
Welcome home, fat bastard.
The key is you got to just go as hard as you can for a day or two. You know, it's like going on a bender. You know, you got to just excess in moderation. You should just go crazy infrequently. And then when you do go crazy, you don't want to do it for a long time. Whether it's drinking, eating, cookies, whatever your thing is, whatever your vice is, go super hard for a tiny little window and get it out of your system. That's what I did.
I don't think that really works with everything. You know, like
some things lead to death. Like, I love meth. I'm going to do as much meth as I can in one day.
No, maybe not a good idea.
Heroin.
Even drinking. I don't know. You poll a bunch of people at AA. I would imagine they're saying, don't do the binging. But
excess in moderation. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it regarding cookies. I went to town.
Was it the road to excess leads to the palace of wisdom? Was that Tennyson?
Ah, yes, Tennyson.
Lord Alfred Tennyson. See, look at that. I'm quoting freaking English lit.
Listen, you come here for skiing information. We give you just brilliance. We're just well-rounded. We're some Renaissance men here.
Hey, back before the internet, I used to like peruse books and just pick out quotes like that. And that was one of them.
Just to impress women at the bar, right?
Yeah, I didn't have any women that would understand that I was trying to impress at the bar.
I prefer my girls really, really dumb.
Yeah,
did you see the Kardashians? Like, oh my God.
Oh my God, that's so good. Yeah, he wouldn't know anything about Tennyson. Tennyson? Is that tennis? Tennyson?
Yeah. Well.
Anyway,
that should be on like a t-shirt or something. That's a really good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you're still grinding, if you're still working out, I was doing great. I was like banging out a couple days of workouts in a row. And then all of a sudden I ran into a literal shitstorm this week. I'm not going into details, but think about the worst thing possible.
COVID season, just stomach virus season. You had it all.
I've been getting blasted. December it started in November, December. I've been getting hit with everything.
Damn.
COVID, other stuff,
You're trying to
stomach.
hide out with your mask in your basement, and it's still not working.
I shouldn't leave this basement. This is basement where happy things happen. So I should stay down here. It's really
You
the
want to
moral
freak
of the
your wife
story.
out? You got to start putting up like freaking plastic on everything. She'll be like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm making my own bubble.
Like what's his name in Better Call Saul, the brother?
Oh, that was
Just get rid of
great.
electricity and
Man, that was crazy. He comes in, he's like
leave the
pulling
phone in
wires
the
out of the
mailbox.
wall. Like, damn, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. But if you're still grinding, you know what you need? You need some gear. New Year. Get some fresh
Yeah.
threads. How about go to 10,000? They got some great stuff. I'm a big fan. 10,000.cc, athlete led design. Their whole thing is iron sharpens iron. They want stuff for the best. Their motto, better than yesterday. Yesterday you were good. Today, a little better. The heart of 10,000 is the idea of pursuit in business, fitness, life, and skiing. They believe in moving forward with a quiet dedication to constant improvement and to becoming just a bit better than you were yesterday. Go to their site, 10,000.cc. Use the code BSchneider15, BSCHNEIDER15, 15% off. Get some cool gear. I had a pair of their interval pants somewhere. I don't think they're here anymore, but they're my favorite pair of joggers. They absolutely are. They're super comfortable. Got some solid zipper pockets. I'd recommend them. But who am I? Who am I? Besides one
Who
of
are
your
you?
your favorite podcast co-hosts. Check it out. 10,000.cc. Enough of that nonsense. Mario, let's kick it off the way we always do.
It's time for Opry Today.
I see you got some fizzing
sound.
going on.
How about that sound? So
That was creamy and delicious.
I found this one. I love this brand. I love this beer, and I like this stout. It's a stout, and it is
Cold 45. Oh,
the Left Hand Irish Stout on Nitro, dry Irish Stout. Nitro.
left hand dry Irish stout on nitro. Wow, that's a bold call.
Yeah, so I love the Left Hand Milk Stout. So I was
That's
in
a
the
good one.
store, and I was like, Left Hand, and I saw this one next to the milk stout. I'm like, let me try it. Why not?
Life
I
is
don't know.
short,
People
right?
can complain about lactose and lactose intolerant. I don't know lactose. I don't think I'm lactose intolerant, but I'm like,
Get lactarded. Come on.
Starter. I want more milks. I want fresh milks. You gotta have extra milk stout for me. Breast milk stout. How about that?
Why not? Let's get weird. They're putting enough crap in beer these days. Breast milk stout.
Left breast milk stout. How about that one? I don't know if the marketing's good on that. Left hand is a little better. Left breast, right breast, whatever you got. Two breasts. All right, here's the try. That's very good. Not sharp, very mild, very smooth. I'm trying to think of how it's different than the Left Hand Milk Stout. It's not as creamy, not as milky. The other one's a little bit creamy, and this is a dry Irish Stout. It does taste a little drier, like a dry mouthfeel, but it's got a crisp flavor. Nice stout, not anything overpowering. I like this. This is I'd give this out of a 10. I'd give this a hard bum 8.
A hard bum 8.
Yeah, hard bum 8.
Damn.
This is pretty good. I don't know if I could drink this every day, but this is hey, when you're in the mood for it, this one hits a spot.
Every damn day.
That's not bad.
So what would you compare that? Like, is there another, like, was there any other beer that you can think of that's similar to that? Or is it unique and amazing in some special way?
I don't drink a lot of stouts. I could compare it to a Guinness. Very similar to a Guinness, but it has definitely different characteristics. I wouldn't say different flavor, like similar flavor profile. It's just it's definitely not as creamy as like the Left Hand Milk Stout that we've all grown to love. Yeah, I like the nitro. The nitro usually adds a little bit of a creaminess to this, but yeah, it has a nice malty. So they describe this as a super smooth, rich roasted malt and notes of chocolate. Everybody says chocolate and stouts, and I'm like, I get it, but it's a stretch. It's not like you're drinking a chocolate
It's
bar,
more like
right?
cocoa than chocolate,
Yeah,
right?
I would say
Because like
cocoa.
if you just take cocoa powder and just ate it, you're like, wow, this is not a Hershey bar. It's not what it tastes like at all.
Right. Chocolate, I'm not getting as much coffee. There's a little hint of it. This one describes it as a hint of graham cracker, and I'm like, that's a stretch. It could be my palate, but
Some of the
it
things that they
tastes.
put in for these tasting notes, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Are you serious about this? It's like in
It,
Sideways. Like Sideways has one of the best when doing the wine tasting in there. When he's like, I'm getting
yeah.
hints of strawberries and a nutty evening cheese.
Yeah. Tennis balls. That's the other one. Tennis balls.
Tennis
Notes
balls,
of
yeah.
tennis ball. Like what? Freshly opened tennis balls.
Bit
This
earthy.
one's yeah. It's actually not that alcoholic. It's only 4.3%. Got an 86 ranking on Beer Advocate, which isn't bad. That's pretty strong.
Oh, like
Um,
an 86 out of 100.
yeah,
Nice.
86 out of 100 is people ranking. Yeah, so it's not bad. Got a nice dry finish to it. So this is it's a stout that you could probably drink more than a few of and be okay with. I like my Guinness, and I'll have my Guinness nights where I drink a few of them. This is right up there with it. I'd say this is pretty strong showing. Left Hand Milk Stout. I think I drink a few of those, and then I'm kind of like done, kind of tapped out. So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's pretty good.
Wow. Interesting pick. I like that.
Yeah, that was where I went to Total Wine, and that's where I got this one when I also picked up the Magnify Brewing on that same trip. So
Look at you.
I got them lined up. I got all special ones lined up for the next few weeks.
I like that. That's the way to go. Like we prepare for these things. This isn't all just seat of our pants, like
Yeah,
some may think.
planning.
Planning.
All right, what do you got?
I went a totally different direction than you did. So like I was mentioning, I had the stomach thing. It was like 24 hours of just misery. And
Oh,
when you got a stomach thing,
you got a
one
little
of the things,
Mucinix and vodka or something?
what's that?
Little Mucinix and vodka mix?
Well, I was trying to think to myself, I'm like, what could I mix with what the hell's the stuff you give kids that they're like, oh now it was a kid's drink and now all of a sudden it's
Oh,
become a
Pedialyte.
Pedialyte. Like, hey, you know what? Are you really hammered? Like, hey, have some Pedialyte too. Like, why not? I was like, what can I
I'm
mix
surprised they
with
don't carry
Pedialyte?
it in bars now.
Yeah, they have bars now. Hilarious. Like
That's
we've
awesome.
just gotten. I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's a good thing. Sounds insane. But when you got a stomach thing, the beverage of choice is always ginger ale because ginger is good for your belly, makes you feel okay.
Oh yeah.
So I got Zevia ginger ale. You ever had that?
Hmm. No.
It's
Is
basically
it nice and hot and spicy?
it's like a 0 calorie
Oh,
made
I've
with
seen that in the stores.
stevia.
Okay.
Not
Ah, stevia.
It's not terrible. That said, the night where I was like at maximum sickness, I felt the stevia just almost like coating my mouth, and I just wanted to brush my gross ass teeth. It was
Ah,
just I don't even want to tell you how it went that night. Like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen to you when you're sleeping?
is
That's
it
what happened.
pupilicious, poopalicious, pukalicious,
It's
or
just
all of the
I'm
above?
gonna allow your mind, your creativity, your
All
imagination
right.
to run wild there. But
Run wild.
it was the worst possible night for a grown ass man to have. I'll tell you that.
Damn.
By himself, I
Yeah,
guess.
sleep in the bathtub next time. That's what you gotta
That would have been a good idea. But anyway,
do.
so it was only 24 hours of hell. I did take a 3.5 hour nap. And
Nice.
I don't think I've taken a 3.5 hour nap since I was a kid. So
Hmm.
from 11:30 to like 3, I was asleep on the couch. Just
I wish I could take one of those every day.
goddamn. I know. I'm like 11, like just being able to get rid of the 11 to 2 o'clock Like, that's like the
11
worst
and
time
2
of
would
the
be
day.
perfect.
The worst
Even
time of
11
the
and
day.
1, I'll take. Oh, yeah. Just 2-hour siesta. Like,
Yeah.
I would be all for that.
So anyway, so yeah, so now I'm back on the mend. So I got a little Zevia, and you know what? I can't let you guys down. Podcast. So I had to mix a little bit of the old high risk,
Boom.
Jesus, High West whiskey, double
High
rye,
risk.
high
whiskey.
risk. I was trying to say High West rye, double rye, but yeah, high risk.
Nice.
So we're calling it now.
That's
The high
double
risk.
rye. All right.
Not just one rye. One rye is not nearly enough. It's got to be
Yeah.
double rye. Which,
Oh, it's better too.
yeah, this is actually from the good folks at Ski Utah. Were kind enough
Nice.
at the events they were throwing this year to give these little bottles away, little 375 millis of the High West double rye. And I like drinking
Nice.
it straight, but you know what? Because of the occasion and the necessity, we're having it with a little bit of Zevia ginger ale. So
All right.
you
I
need
like
a little
that.
something to get you through some tummy troubles. It's got my seal of approval.
That's good.
Seal of approval.
Seal of approval. Yeah, at what point we can just start mixing just crazy shit? Like, you got Starbucks has like a fucking unicorn, like mocha latte or whatever the hell that thing is. It's like, what is it, 8 billion calories, and it's like turns colors and shit. Like, where's it stop? Like, I
Can't
don't know.
stop, won't stop, man.
Just can't stop. We're just gonna be drinking crazy cocktails.
I think I could almost see, where they're like Jurassic Park, right? They got the amber, they got the DNA, they made dinosaurs. There's going
Yeah.
to be a point where they're going to do that specifically to get different flavors to make different drinks.
Oh, can you imagine like a prehistoric fruit drink? People are like, oh, I'm gonna have that, prehistoric whatever the plant is, and just kind of
What about some
eat it.
friggin' Triceratops bone broth?
Boom. That's what
Triceratops
I'm saying.
bone broth, T-Rex bone broth.
T-Rex chili. That's what I want to have.
You're not alpha enough. Are you drinking T-Rex bone broth? No, you try to drink that every day. IV it.
Can you imagine if you were a caveman back then? You got your hands on a T-Rex and you made some chili, like with spices and shit. People be like, I don't know, this guy's like, he's like a superhuman.
I'm pretty sure cavemen didn't exist during the dinosaurs, but we're gonna play the game.
Hey, I saw Land of the Lost Man. It all happened.
Imagine you just like getting back to your cave, just like dragging a Triceratops with you. Like, what the fuck is that?
Fuck is that, man? Yo, man, we're eating for a while.
Yeah, you got like
So I got it covered.
the Guy Fieri of caveman, like pulls in, he's like, we're gonna make some chili, bro.
That's right. Making chili. We're gonna make some freaking jerky.
Tater tots with this thing. It's gonna be amazing.
T-Rex jerky. We're like, for months you'd be eating T-Rex.
Guy Fieri as a caveman cooking dinosaurs. That could be a TV show. I'd watch that.
How much meat was on a dinosaur? Like a T-Rex had to be gigantic, right?
Yeah, we want those big, dopey plant eaters because they were like the biggest of the dinosaurs. Like Argentinosaurus. I was just reading to my son about dinosaurs before bed, so I got a couple of them fresh in my mind. Like Argentinosaurus was like the biggest dinosaur, and I forget that was it Argamontosaurus or something. He had the longest neck. His neck was longer than his whole body.
Damn.
Like his neck was the same size as his body and tail. So like this guy didn't even have to walk. He just would kind of like swing his giant ass neck around and just go to the next tree. It's
nice.
like living at a buffet, pretty much.
So saying T-Rex was about 15,000 pounds.
Damn.
How big is a steer?
Steers are like
or
what?
Beef cow.
Up to 1,000, maybe. Like a real way less than that actually.
1,300 pounds. They're saying
1,300.
Average.
Wow.
They're saying average cow across all breeds about 1,390 pounds.
Damn. So T-Rex is like 8 times bigger.
Man, that's a lot of food. And if this thing was bigger than that, you literally feed your whole village on that.
Yeah. We don't really eat eat meat-eating animals though. So so you probably want a big plant eater.
You know what's amazing though? I typed in, beef cow size, right? Just to get and it pops up the size. So the one that
shows up, the Baconator?
No, it's being reported by Beef Magazine. There's a magazine dedicated to beef. No, this is all about industry beef. They talk about the breeds, and they have cows on the picture. I'm like, holy crap! It's a whole
Nice.
magazine. This is
So
the deep dive that you get on the internet.
there you go. So Argentinosaurus, he weighed between 65 and 80 tons.
Damn,
Wait, that's 160,000 pounds.
176. Yeah, 176,000 pounds.
Damn.
Damn, that's eaten for like 3 years.
Think about like if they're like a churrascaria with Argentinosaurus.
So average
80
yearly
tons.
meat consumption of a human, they're saying about 56 pounds of beef yearly.
You better might want to get a second chest freezer.
Oh yeah, you're giving food away. Like there's a lot of things eating, people and animals eating off of that. Damn.
That's the way to go. I could see us doing that in the future. Like just bringing back dinosaurs just to
Just
eat
for
them.
food.
It's like the opposite of Jurassic Park. It's just to eat them.
Jurassic
Buffet.
buffet, Jurassic Farm. So we can
Jurassic
bring them
buffet.
back to yeah. Oh man,
I'm not against that at all.
that'd be crazy.
There you
That and
go.
buffalo. Can you imagine making a buffalo like 10 times the size that it is today?
Delicious.
That'd be terrifying and delicious at the same time.
Terrifyingly delicious.
Oh, they're terrifying. I love buffalo, but they're terrifying. I would never want to come face to face with one.
Yeah, right.
They look so sweet and gentle, but they're fucking huge.
They will mess your shit up.
Yeah. I like that about them. They look cute and cuddly, and then they'll mess you up.
Stealth. Yeah, they look kind of dopey a little bit.
Yeah.
See them chewing.
And they're like, no.
Yup.
And they're looking at you like, just come a little closer, motherfucker. You're almost in my range.
It's like it's like having like a black belt in like jiu-jitsu and karate, and you're like really, really nice to people. People take advantage of you, and then you're just like, wrong day, brother. Wrong day, wrong time, wrong person. And you're just
Right.
destroyed.
Snap. Yeah.
Just in pieces.
Mm.
There you
I
go.
love buffalo. They're tasty too.
They are.
Let's go to ski news.
So I'm sure just about everyone has heard about this, but there was a very serious fatal avalanche at Palisades, Tahoe, just a couple days ago,
Mm.
saying that one person was killed and 3 others were injured as a result of an avalanche that hit the Lake Tahoe area on Wednesday morning. Placer County Sheriff's Office spokesperson David Smith told USA Today that search efforts had concluded after officials were forced to close Palisades, Tahoe to search for victims and survivors. The sheriff's office identified the person killed as Kenneth Kidd, 66, a resident of Point Reyes and Truckee, which is just north of Palisades, Tahoe. According to an earlier statement issued by the resort, Kidd sustained fatal injuries from the incident and was pronounced deceased by Tahoe Forest Hospital. 3 other skiers sustained non-life-threatening injuries, according to the resort. Death Wednesday was the first U.S. avalanche fatality of the season, according to Colorado Avalanche Information Center, which monitors avalanches nationwide. The avalanche was first reported about 9:30 a.m. Wednesday at Palisades, Tahoe. The slide occurred on steep slopes in the GS Gully area, according to the social media post by Palisades, Tahoe. Local fire department responded to the resort for word of an avalanche in the ski area, the post stated. Multiple agencies in the area began to pool resources to assist Palisades Ski Patrol, who confirmed that an avalanche had occurred in the GS Gully area to the skiers' right of the KT-22 chairlift. Over 100 Palisades Tahoe personnel and members of the public assisted first responders with the search and rescue operation. Some of the tools used in Wednesday's search included avalanche transceivers, probes, RICO rescue system technology, and avalanche rescue dog teams. The statement read, the entire Palisades Tahoe team, including all the first responders, extend their deepest sympathies to the family and friends of those involved in the incident, according to Palisades Tahoe. So what sucks
Very
the most
sad.
about this, it sucks the most is that this is like an inbound avalanche. Like that's the
Yeah,
thing
this
that's the most scary about it, because so
It was
often
big
we
too,
think,
right?
what's that?
It was pretty big too.
It was really big, yeah. Now I don't know how much snow they got exactly in the day or so before, but it's really just one of those warnings to skiers that this is super dangerous, and we're always wanting powder days, wanting big powder, but we have to remember that when it snows, like, this is possible. No matter if you
This is
you may you
nature.
may you may think you're safe in the resort, but nature doesn't know it's a resort. Nature knows cliff. Nature knows it's not going to measure the snowpack for you. If the snow is heavy on top, it's going to slide. And inbound,
Yep.
out of bounds, it doesn't matter. So again, there's so many warnings we get every year. There's always something to go up. Well, I'll remember that next season. I'll remember to do that. And it's unfortunate that it led to a fatality. It's just another thing to get you to think about and almost learn from the mistakes of others. Um, it's
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know the details about what kind of situation he got himself in. Did he have any sort of gear? I mean, I'm assuming he didn't have any probe or
Probably not. They were in
probe
bounds,
on.
right?
Well, probe wouldn't matter. I mean, he didn't have a receiver on him to put out a signal because again, you think you're in bounds, you're safe, nothing's going to happen to you. But
Now I gotta say, it is recommended. Like we were skiing with our buddy Nick the one time, and I think it was Whistler, and he was like, "Yeah, we're probably going to be in bounds, but just keep your transceiver on all the time. Why not?" He had it.
if you have it, like, there's no harm in having it on. I mean, it can only help. And
Right.
again, too, say you're not in the slide, but someone
Yeah.
else is, and you have your receiver, you can help out. So it's
Right.
always good to have on whenever there's any sort of powder day. So it's
And he had a good point. He's like, "You have it. It's not going to wear the battery out. Kill it. You could just run it all day. So why not?
if you
Yeah.
got
Why
it,
not?
use it. Yeah, 100%.
You're already wearing it. Just put it on. Right.
Hmm. And it's crazy too because we were just talking about the last podcast, which was a bit ago, but we were talking about that Buried documentary about Alpine Meadows, which is
Yeah.
right next door, now connected to Palisades Tahoe. And yeah, that area, there's just those certain spots that have that certain pitch, and when the right conditions show
Mm.
up, it makes it you know bad for avalanches. So terrible, awful, unfortunate, but something that we just have to make sure we always keep in mind. Wherever you're at, if you're in an area that's got a big snow dump and has the certain prone to avalanche areas, bring your gear, wear your receiver. It might save your life.
Yeah. Man, so that was a great day turned bad. Speaking of another great day turned bad, father-daughter was injured in a hit-and-run crash with a ski biker at a Colorado resort, which was Keystone Resort. A father and daughter were skiing, and they were injured when a man riding a ski bike, which I've seen a lot of these lately. I don't know, this is the year of ski bikes because I've seen a lot of stuff on Instagram and a lot of video and stuff, and they look like fun as shit and cool. But I guess they were skiing. A ski biker crashed into them and then fled the scene, according to Summit County Sheriff's Office. Hit and run crash occurred at the bottom of Bergman Bowl near the intersection of Blackjack and Prospector ski trails around 12:30 when a man on a ski bike came up behind the father and daughter while they were exiting Blackjack, colliding with the daughter and then the father. So they must have been just flying.
I will go on the record and say I am anti ski bike, 100%. Fuck those things. You know what those things
Yeah,
remind me of? That's
you
like
need a special place.
yeah, exactly. Your backyard. Like, keep those in your backyard. Go, like, those should not be anywhere near skiers and boarders. Think about this is the way I think
Yeah.
about those things. Imagine you had like a 69 Camaro, like an original 69 Camaro, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna put a brand new LS4 crate motor, 1,000 horsepower into my car. Nice. I got a 69 Camaro with 1,000 horsepower, but I have shitty 1969 brakes and I have a shitty 1969 suspension, and I'm gonna go drive as fast as I can and then try to stop and turn. You're absolutely fucking yourself. This is exactly what those stupid ski bikes are. How can you
Yeah.
you can't control those things like you control skis and snowboards.
Oh,
You
you,
can't
you
stop,
can't.
you
You
can't
can't.
turn. You don't have
Right.
nearly the control that you would have like you would if you were skiing or boarding. So that makes
Always
them
kind
extremely.
of guide them down, and that's it.
That's it. They should maybe dedicate one trail. Like we're gonna call this one. This is like Thunderdome. Thunderdome Trail. You can have your ski bike
Yeah.
here if you want to ski and board also. Like have at it. But to have those all over the mountain, I can't believe that Keystone would even do that. As the kind of place that's very family friendly and like that
Yeah.
seems to be just. And I know all these resorts are trying to find more ways to make money and get more things, more ways for people to get on the slopes. But those are the absolute wrong thing to have.
What would be awesome, like you said, like I was thinking the same thing. Like, why not have a separate area of the mountain, have all your ski bikes on, have your snow blades, have your mono ski. They could all go in those areas. Like that's kind of cool. That's like you said, Thunderdome. That's like special. If you want to come up with your own invention, go ride it in that little area. That's all fine,
Like an
right?
island of like misfit snow people. Like just
Yeah,
shove them all into one section and just go do whatever you want to do.
that's right. And then leave the skiing and the boarding to the people that know what they're doing, that can stop. Well, because that's just it, right? So you need to be able to stop and avoid the people in front of you, because the downhill skier has right away. You're responsible for being safe and not putting them in harm. Well, if you can't do that on a ski bike, why are they letting them on the mountain, right?
Yeah. And like the
So,
father was critically injured. Do you know the trauma you've done to that family? Like just because
yeah,
you're a jerk off on a ski bike? Like that shit
yeah,
pisses me off so much. And then of course, the asshole fucking fled the scene. I mean, it's
that's
similar to that, that story we talked about last year. I forget which resort in Colorado it was where, like the famous ski instructor died, and guy fled the
and
scene,
then
but
there's
somehow he
and
got
then there's
off.
the Gwyneth Paltrow thing, which we all know how that turned out. There's gonna be
Yeah,
a play on that, right?
I think there is an off Broadway play. Yeah.
So
Ugh.
they're saying it's illegal to leave a scene of a ski crash that causes an injury without giving a name and a current address to the resort employee or ski patrol member unless the person is seeking help from someone who is injured. So they broke the law by just fleeing. They were probably in the wrong because they were the other people were downhill and they crashed into them. So it's funny how people flee and think I'm gonna get out of here and nobody's ever gonna find me. It's like how much like technology we have these days, like they're going to find you and you just
Yeah.
make it worse on yourself. So if you're listening to this podcast, you're a dick and you should turn yourself in. That's all I'm saying.
I don't think any ski bikers listen to this podcast. Or at least I hope they don't.
They do that ski biker gangs, like with jackets and shit like that.
I believe
Patches.
that's the prequel to Sons of Anarchy coming out. They started as
Yeah,
a ski bike gang.
that's right. Sons of Snow Anarchy. I don't know. Whatever they got.
Sons of Uller.
What do they run? You think they run snow guns instead of real guns?
Yeah.
Sam Crow running snow guns.
Sam Snow.
Yo, man, I got your guns right here. How much you gonna pay? How much is the output on those? So these are the high output ones. They're gonna cost you more. Yeah, it's a very stupid concept, but for a stupid thing that happened.
Yeah.
But
well, hopefully they get them.
Again, how much shit are you gonna get if you go to jail and people ask like, "Oh, you're a ski biker?" Yeah. Come on, you're my date now. Like you're not gonna get any respect.
Anything that happens to that snow biker, if and hopefully when he goes to prison, will be deserved. Well deserved.
Damn, it's gonna be like Otto all over again.
Yeah. It's gonna be like Oz.
Oh my God, horrible.
Oh, poor Otto, but yes. Bad news.
Oz, I was a ski biker. Now I'm in jail. I'm doing hard time.
It'd be like the Scared Straight.
Hopefully they'll find him.
Hopefully they got him by now.
Yeah.
So another thing happening out in Colorado, new 911 technology could make it easier to find injured and lost backcountry skiers.
Hmm.
The new technology to enhance information flowing into the 911 dispatch center could help the Pitkin County Sheriff's Office break a trail for other agencies that are juggling calls, texts, and videos coming from people lost in the backcountry or injured while skiing. The Sheriff's Office will install a mapping technology that is intended to consolidate and prioritize the incoming information, kind of one stop shopping for the dispatchers, said Brent Loeb, 911 Division Chief for the department. With all the new 911 technology, we're getting video feeds. We're getting text to
Hmm.
911. We're getting input from satellite devices. We're getting satellite calls, all kinds of different stuff. So right now, there's not a real good solution that consolidates everything that makes it easy for our dispatchers to see. There's technology by a company called Hexagon, which is a global software company based in Sweden, which is designed to put all the information on one map in one place for dispatchers.
Hmm.
So dispatchers now track information streaming in on different screens. Loeb said the new mapping system will allow dispatchers to funnel everything into one stream that includes a table of all incoming calls and information about where first responders are sent. The sheriff's office expects to go live with this system in the first quarter of this year. This will be the first time the technology has been deployed in an area with ski resorts, said Ben Ernst, vice president and general manager of Hexagon Safety, Infrastructure, and Geospatial Division. Hexagon noted in its announcement of the partnership with the sheriff's office that Pitkin County, home to the resort town of Aspen and 4 major ski areas, attracts about 1.5 million tourists a year. The company said the upgrades to the county's computer-aided dispatch system will improve emergency response capabilities during such events as the X Games and music festivals. The tech is a
Pretty cool.
digital map that allows the call takers and dispatchers to immediately see the origination of the calls for the service. And this is actually really cool. In a place that is such a draw for tourists, there might be a lot of people who call 911 who are unfamiliar with the area and don't know where they are. So to be able to ID their location through technology is just so critical in terms of getting assets sent to them as quickly as possible. This seems like a really cool use of the technology. You know, I know it's easy to look at and be like, well, no, it's gonna make people even lazier because they're not gonna have to think about where they're like, just someone come help me. I'm just wherever. But the point is, again, if you're not a local and you're doing everything right, and then something happens and you break your ankle, you fall into a bad situation.
Yeah.
This seems like a really nice a good use of the technology to assist people and to prevent unnecessary fatalities.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool also because it seems to aggregate everything coming in. So let's say there's 5 people calling in. Well, they're not really 5 separate incidents. It's one incident. So they could actually put it together and say, hey, send somebody for this incident that all these people are reporting, which is kind of nice. Rather than have like people trying to dispatch 5 different sets of, first responders, they could just say, look, send them all to this one area. It's all the same call. There's a
Yeah,
big,
same
big,
origination point. We can
yeah,
geolocate it based on that information. That's
right. Like look,
a good
look at the
feature.
case of an avalanche, right? You get 5 people call, hey, there's a big avalanche. Well, we know it's one event. Let's send everybody there. That's kind of cool.
Triangulate all the where all the information comes from, and you can really narrow down where the people will be located.
I never thought that like 911 is getting video from people. Like I guess that happens, right? Like, hey, there's
Can you FaceTime 911? Is that possible?
I didn't think you could do that. Like, what do you do? Like, they must get so many dick pics. What do you think? 911? 911 is like, oh, come on, you got me again. I'm
Yeah.
sending somebody to the house. I'm gonna arrest you now, bastard.
Yeah.
There's got to be a clown out there. Probably if you're on a ski bike, you're sending dick pics to 911. That's about
Yeah,
it.
probably. That's the most likely demographic of dick pic senders. 911 is ski
If I'm a
bikers.
betting man, I'm thinking the over is that you're sending you're a ski biker. Just
Yeah,
saying.
quite possible.
All right, next up, we got some fun stuff we're getting into. So we have Condé Nast Traveler came up with their rankings of best ski resorts in the U.S. and Canada. So this is 2023 Readers' Choice Awards. So readers wrote in, and they decided to, gather all that information, and they're
Now, Condé
saying,
Nast also has a certain criteria.
yeah,
Are there readers who created this list?
So they're saying, yeah, I didn't. Do you know the criteria?
Well, the criteria here, it just says that these resorts were picked by our readers as the best in North America for their trails, lifts, and après ski spots.
Ah,
Whether you're
okay.
a mogul expert, a terrain park shredder, or a novice still mastering blue runs, these ski resorts ticked all your boxes.
Huh. Very cool.
So it's
So I know.
the readers of Condé Nast, what they would want.
Yes, exactly. Not just random people, readers of Condé Nast. So according to these readers, they're saying, in summary, before we get into the list, they're saying Colorado resorts once again dominated the list of U.S. resorts this year, with 3 of the 4 mountains, Aspen, Snowmass, making up the top 10. But East Coast made a bold statement with 10 resorts in the top 40. And in an age of resort conglomerates, a handful of indie resorts stood out for their homegrown spirit and excellent terrain. So from Aspen to Alberta, Big Sky to BC, these ski resorts were picked by the readers as the best in North America for, as you said, trails, lifts, après ski. So let's get on to the list. I don't want to go through this whole list. It's a giant list.
Got the top 10. Let's stick
I
with
go
the
to the top 10. I zip right down to like, I don't like when they start it with the last to the first. Like they want you to read them all. I just want to skip. That's what I do. I page through. I read it backwards. I start with one and I read back.
Yeah.
So top 10. One that was home to the Ski Bum podcast where we all started this. Killington, Vermont. Is
top 10. North America.
So,
top 10.
Beast of the East, as it's affectionately known. Yeah, they're saying massive size, has some of the longest skiing in the East. The Superstar Glacier, they put it in quotes because they just pound snow on that thing, is something to be seen. Great terrain park. So there's a lot to be said with that. One of the things they mention in here, the Pico Mount, which is right next to them, is on the same lift pass, and it's a nice little, change of pace, so to speak. And then they got a good nightlife and a lot of other stuff. They talk about Wobbly Barn, and they don't mention the Pickle Barrel, so I don't know.
They don't mention Sushi Yoshi.
Sushi Yoshi and their wings, and
which no longer has free après ski wings. Thank you, COVID.
And this is why they toppled from the top 3.
Thank you, COVID.
All right, number 9. Don't know much about this. Marmot Basin in Alberta. So they're saying it's in Jasper National Park, which I've heard of definitely. And they're saying has the highest base elevation of any major Canadian ski area. Over 1,700 acres of terrain, perfect for a progression of beginner, intermediate, and advanced terrain. 2 terrain parks. They got a lot to be said about that. Jasper National Park is supposed to be pretty damn nice. So got some pictures there. It looks pretty beautiful.
It's got a sweet Fairmont, so it's a good spot.
It's got a Fairmont. That's pretty good.
Number 8's a big surprise. Big surprise.
I'll let you take that one. It's a good one.
Bretton Woods, New Hampshire.
Ooh.
Where the Bretton Woods Accord happened in 1944, where the world moved to a dollar system.
Ooh.
Part of the Omni Mount Washington Resort, Bretton Woods touts the largest ski area in New Hampshire, 464 acres of skiable terrain, including a terrain park and a summit elevation of 3,100 feet, all surrounded by the woods of the White Mountain National Forest. Readers love features including the state's only 8-passenger gondola and stunning on-mountain Rosebrook Lodge with its killer views of the Presidential Range. Bonus points for Bretton Woods come with award-winning snowmaking and grooming. Shout out to our pal Ben, who's part of that team. A robust 62-mile Nordic trail network for skiing and snowshoeing. A year-round canopy tour with 9 zip lines and a dedicated system of winter fat bike trails.
Damn, fat bikes.
Fat bikes. So that's a big one.
Nice.
Bretton Woods making the top 10. Number 8.
New Hampshire. Live free or die, right? That's
Live free or die.
That's right.
Back to you, Mario, with number 7. He's back.
Sun Valley, Idaho, number 7. So
Home of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah, Sun Valley is on my list. I still got to get there. Yeah, developed by businessman and politician W. Averell Harriman in the late 1930s, Sun Valley marked the first destination winter resort in the U.S. I believe that's where the first lift was too, right? They've been doing a lot of enhancements. They're saying good network of trails, and they're saying Sun Valley Inn. They got a lot of cool things to see. There's a lot of history in Sun Valley.
Warren
like that.
Miller's famous teardrop camper that him and Ward slept in,
Yeah, that's where it started, right?
making his first film and painting the mural in the cafeteria. Yep.
Boom. Very cool. I'll let you take the next one. We'll alternate. How about that?
There we go. How about Big White out in British Columbia? Another one I know very little about.
Sounds racist.
No. Big White.
Okay.
Yeah. Locally known as Okanagan champagne powder for perfect,
Nice.
fluffy, dry snowfalls frequently and abundantly on Big White Mountain, reaching upwards of 24.5 feet annually. If your powder legs aren't quite in shape, Big White Ski Resort's grooming fleet serves up plenty of flawless corduroy on which to practice your turns. Canada's largest full ski and ski out village is just 45 minutes from Kelowna International Airport. Families love that once you arrive, every amenity and experience you desire is a short ski away. From nearly 20 on-mountain restaurants and bars to dog sledding, horse-drawn sleigh rides, and ice skating on Canada's highest outdoor skating rink. This place sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah,
and the
it does
resort's
sound pretty awesome.
popular night skiing program is back for 23-24, which provides the most extensive night skiing terrain in Western Canada.
Boom. It was very cool.
They also
All
have
right, next up.
on-mountain Sundance cabins, which offer ski and ski out access and private hot tubs.
Private
Sounds
hot
pretty
tubs.
sweet.
That's pretty nice. All right, number 5. We're actually just talking before the podcast about making a trip there, Aspen Mountain, Colorado.
Oh no, Lloyd, the French are assholes.
That's right. So they say, while Aspen Mountain's only 1/4 the size of Snowmass without a single beginner run, it's beloved by intermediate and advanced skiers who love it and say it skis like a much bigger mountain once you know its secrets. They're saying there's the new Heroes Terrain expansion, first significant addition to Aspen Mountain since the opening of the Silver Queen gondola in 1985, increases the skiable acreage by more than 20%. They got new high-speed quad chairlifts, more than 150 acres of challenging new runs. They're saying it's legendary. It's got a lot of cool après scenes. One of the things they note in here is the Montauk famed surf lodge, the Aspen X Beach Club, and they have the St. Regis Hotel there. Oh, and they oatmeal pancakes at Bonnie's on the mountain. So
Look at that.
very cool. I know we've had the Corbett's Cabin waffles. That was pretty fun.
Yes. Right before we front flipped into Corbett's, obviously.
Front flip and back flip. Brian did the back flip.
Flipping.
I did the front flip.
That's how we roll.
Yeah. And then your wife did the jelly roll, right?
She did. It was impressive. It was impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah. All right, number 4. Back to the East Coast. Smuggler's Notch in Vermont.
The Notch.
In an age of resort conglomerates, Smugs, as it's lovingly known, remains defiantly independent. Family-forward service, fantastic ski school, and 3 mountains with uncrowded terrain suited to all experience levels make up for the resort's old-school lift system. If you think the East doesn't have challenging terrain, test your mettle on the resort's 750 acres of gladed terrain or the steeps of Madonna Mountain, the highest vertical drop in northern Vermont at 2,610 feet. When your legs are shot, head to Apparay at the Black Bear Tavern in the Madonna Base Lodge for a pint of the resort's signature Prohibition Ale brewed by Long Trail Brewing. Family fun is endless with activities ranging from snowshoeing and tubing to cross-country skiing and ice skating. I will tell you, this is one of the ones that's on the list for the family to get up to because, again, it's got a lot of it's extremely family oriented. And if that's what you're looking for and you're in that area, it's a no-brainer. Always
Very
wins like
cool.
best family resort. So Smugs is doing something right.
Smugs is good. It's got a nice little local following too.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, moving right along to the top ones, we got Deer Valley, Utah. So
Deer Valley.
this is one of 3 ski-only resorts in the country. Deer Valley is made for families who love to ski together and skiing in general. So
And who aren't poor.
Who are not poor, that's right. The resort, your wishes, our command, customer service is worth the splurge. That's what people say. I've never been there. Still have not gone there.
Well,
Only
we
40
went
miles
there.
from the.
We went there together, but we didn't ski because it was raining that day.
Yes, it was pretty
We hung out at the
crappy.
Stein Eriksen Lodge trying to seem important.
Yeah, we kind of walked around. We're like, we can't ski. This is unskiable today. But that was the next day was pretty awesome, though, I got to say.
Yes, that is true.
But they're doing some expansions. They said this making the ski runs even bigger.
Look at that massive expansion because they picked up that whole Mayflower resort that they bought. So they're almost doubling their terrain.
Almost 3,000 acres more of skiable terrain in the coming years with 9 new chairlifts and 110 new ski runs. So it's going to be enormous.
Yeah.
They're saying winter 2025-26. But they're
2
saying
years to buy property.
There you go. They're saying world-class dining, exceptional skiing. Got to make reservations at all these fancy places. Yeah, definitely not your rustic ski town, but
it is not Smugs.
Not Smugs. Yeah, but still up there. So that's on the list as well.
Number 2, Whistler Blackcomb. It is a favorite. Largest destination ski resort in North America, known for its unmatched big mountain skiing and snowboarding. 8,171 acres of skiable terrain, including 16 alpine bowls and 3 glaciers. Easily enough mountain to keep you on new runs throughout the entire 6-month regular season. They had some crazy lines there during Christmas week. I don't know if you saw any of those Instagram videos, but absolutely insane on a powder day how much the lines were. It was pretty bonkers.
And we've been there a few times, and that is a dope ass mountain. I gotta say,
it's a fun spot. Yeah. Their après skiing is just as legendary as the slopes. The Roundhouse Umbrella Bar is the hot spot on the slopes. In the village, head to the Garibaldi Lift Company. We've been there several times. The French dip is delicious.
Yes, we had that. That's it.
Gotta love the French dip. Wild Blue Restaurant and Bar is excellent. Sustainable seafood spot. Where to stay? The Fairmont. If you're gonna do it right, you stay at the Fairmont. Their steakhouse there is also tremendous. We ate there a couple times.
We did enjoy a nice steak there. That was definitely a nice fancy experience. And we got to see some douchebag trying to say that he's always there. He has reservations. So it was nice to see him get turned away.
Yeah, if you want to see some assholes in motion, that's a good place to find them. And also too,
but I love it because the Fairmont, they don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, we have a lot more people with a lot more money staying at this hotel. You could fucking wait.
And fun story, our buddy Nick, shout out to our buddy Nick, he saw Rob Lowe at the steakhouse there at the Fairmont several years ago.
I like that. I like Rob Lowe.
So there you go.
Youngblood.
Well, apparently he was a dickhead, according to Nick. So,
hey, people being people.
Hey, Rob's got to pay the bills. He's got to find a role for Chad Lowe. Because
if you're not a dick, how do you know that you're that important and famous? Right? Like, you kind of have to be.
You are what you eat.
That's right.
You are what you eat.
Boom. Well said. And that was the
now.
night that Rob had tube steak.
A-O.
It was on the menu. It was on the menu, and it was raw. All right, number one. Number 1, I still have not been there. I don't know if you've been there either. I don't think you have. Snowmass, Colorado. So the most expansive of Aspen Snowmass's 4 mountains has the most lift-served vertical feet of terrain in the U.S. with 4,406 foot elevation drop and enough variation to make it all around hit with the families. Investments in the base village have turned into a social hub complete with ice skating rink, great dinner venues. There's on-mountain dining, which rivals what you'd find in Europe. I don't know about that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Settle down.
Settle down,
Slow
all
your
right?
roll, bro.
They're saying Sam's, which is, I guess one of the places up there, transports skiers to the Italian Dolomites with a menu featuring rigatoni bolognese and Negroni spritzers. I've been there. I don't know if it's going to be quite the same, but anyway, while the new Alpen room takes its cues from the Alps with dishes such as schnitzel and tartiflette, I have no idea what that is. Tartiflette. I gotta look that up now. Let's see what that is. What am I missing out on eating? But they're saying they got, a Westin, which did it,
Something
multi-million
mushroomy, I'm
dollar.
sure, right? It's a savory dish from Savoy in the French Alps. It is made with
Look at that.
potatoes, reblochon cheese, lardons, and onions. So it's not
Huh.
mushroomy. I would have thought mushroom related, but what do I know?
But it's like a tart, tartiflette or whatever.
Nah, it's onions, potatoes, and cheese.
Yeah, it's a veggie tart.
So
Way
it's
to go.
it's like potatoes au gratin, pretty much.
So they got a lot of baller hotels. They say they have the state's highest indoor climbing wall, which I guess you'd want to do while you're skiing. I did a climbing wall last year at the resort. That was kind of fun. It was something to do. I was gassed. It was not fun, but it's fun, but not
But it was
fun.
there.
You know what I mean?
So
it was there, so I was like, I got to do it. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. So, Snowmass, I've heard a lot of good things about them. Just never been there. I don't know. There's always other stuff that seems to catch my attention. So, may have to put that on the top of the list.
The spot I want to go to if we do go to Aspen. That is the spot.
Mm.
And I want to go to the goddamn Woody Creek Tavern. That's the only spot I want to go to because that is where Hunter S. Thompson, you said, just hang out every day and just drink and smoke and write and just be Hunter S. Thompson.
Nice.
It's only about 4 miles, I think, from Snowmass.
Huh. All right.
He was almost the goddamn sheriff. Almost the
Visit
sheriff.
The haunts. Yeah. Go visit all his places and all the Hemingways, right? Just add them in there. That's kind of sets it all straight.
He used to party with rest in peace Jimmy Buffett out in Aspen back in the 70s. And apparently Hunter, he reached out to someone and was like, hey, Jimmy's a little out of control. And when Hunter S. Thompson tells you you're a little out of control, you might be a little out of control.
That's pretty fucked up. That's pretty awesome. That's a legendary story then.
Yep.
Man, that was some ass party.
Yep. What
what would Jimmy Buffett do?
Right. Fear and Loathing? You were just outside of Barstow when the acid kicked in or something?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's got to be one hell of a cocaine's a hell of a drug.
We were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert when the drugs began to take hold.
Damn.
I don't make them like that anymore. Rest in peace.
That was a good little rating thing. You gotta take it with a grain of salt because it is kind of nasty and it is their reader review. So
you got to think about what is a Condé Nast reader. What is a Condé Nast reader?
I don't know if I identify with the crowd that reads Condé Nast. Just I don't know. I get their emails all the time. I do look at their stuff. So
I'm more of
I like it.
I'm more of a Beef Magazine kind of guy.
I got to sign up for like email updates from Beef Magazine. Dude, I start getting Beef Magazine. My wife sees it. She's like, "What the fuck are you getting?" She's like, we have to have a talk? What's going on?
It's about beef, like real beef.
Real beef.
It's not something else. Trust me.
Oh, really? Yeah, it's just meat gets delivered to my inbox every day, baby.
Like that's the kind of I want to combine what Powder Magazine used to be and what Beef Magazine is, and that's I'm the target demographic for that.
Powdered beef.
Powdered beef. Or beef powder. Well, there you go. Number 1, Snowmass, Colorado. Congratulations.
What would be the Beef Magazine ranking? That's what I want to know.
Right?
Right? Here's the best beef provided to these mountains. That would be kind of cool. Yeah, I would want to know that.
I mean, if there was skiing in Texas, it'd be number 1 because Beef Magazine right there.
That could be an angle to make Beef Magazine one of the top magazines in the country.
Yeah.
Come with their beef rankings of best cities to eat beef. All right.
Yeah, I like it.
Maybe we could talk to Sam about that.
Maybe we could. Which
Best
is the
beef on the mountain.
perfect. That's a beautiful segue into our main topic. So, if you can remember, a million weeks ago when we released part 1 of the interview, we chatted with our friend Sam Weintraub, who is the CEO and founder of PeakRankings.com.
And a great guy.
And a very good guy. So just to give you a little kind of crossover homogenation from the last story to the main topic here, chat with Sam. So he ranked for Colorado resorts, Vail number 1, actually tied. I mean, they were tied, but somehow Vail got the number 1. They both had 78s. Vail and Snowmass. So we didn't even mention Vail in the top 10 of Condé Nast. Do you know why? Because it came in 20th.
Boom.
And Sam ranked Telluride 4th. And I think Telluride was either 11 or 12 on the Condé Nast rankings. Now, Sam's rankings are a little more ski and snow focused, not so much what your typical Condé Nast reader is going to have most of their focus on. So I like seeing the differences here because you can really, just by going through the list, not even need to know what you can figure out what a Condé Nast reader is just looking at the list. So you can look at Sam's list and you can see too, looking at his pros and cons, what he's talking about. He's talking about very specific things to skiers, which is nice.
Yeah.
But I do like seeing the different kinds of lists because again, you see enough of these lists, you can really zone into who's got the same vibe, things you're looking out for as yourself. So you can see what works best for you. You heard the first part, you loved it. Here we go with the second part. Our chat, Sam Weintraub.
Yeah, no, it all depends on the mountain because, if you're honestly doing the mountain right, you might not even want après. You want to save your energy to do the hike the next day, right? Hike up Baldy Chutes, then maybe if the conditions are good enough, you can go and hike up Pipeline as well. Have you guys ever done that?
I have not done that.
Okay, it's on my bucket list too.
There you go. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we were out in Utah. It was to the Snowbird and Alta section, but
yeah, we only went once.
Yeah, I've only been out there twice, but trying to get out there again. Every year it's always I'm going to get out there, and then it's there's just so many wonderful spots, and you look at the rankings, you go, I haven't been here, I got to go here, I got to go there. I actually just watched. I don't know if you've seen that the documentary on Netflix about the Alpine Meadows avalanche in 1982. I think it just recently came out. It's amazing and horrifying at the same time. It's definitely worth checking out. I didn't know the whole history of it. Obviously, and all I know is they just connected Alpine Meadow and Squaw and Palisades. Now this big Palisade Tahoe, happy place. But you watch this, you're like, holy crap. Number one, being ski patrol or a ski bum in the late 70s in Lake Tahoe was the shit. That was the best time to be probably in human history to be alive. Late
Hot
70s,
Dog the
early
movie
80s in Lake Tahoe. And I mean, that's, but also when things go bad, things go really, 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 really bad. So definitely worth checking out. Great documentary. I forget the name of it.
I'll definitely check it out.
Nice.
I've heard of it, but
it just came out maybe a week or two ago.
So I don't know if I told you guys this, but I actually lived in Tahoe during the pandemic. So
during the pandemic, just a few years ago.
Yeah. So I just vague snippets. I don't remember that much about it. I know the general synopsis of what happens, but I'm very interested to watch this documentary to get a more in-depth peek, because the way that Alpine Meadows is set up now is actually very heavily influenced by what happened with that avalanche.
Yeah, it's called Buried.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. It is a horrifying but also fascinating event that has happened in Tahoe history.
Yeah, they got 90 inches of snow in 4 days.
Wow.
It was end of the season. I think it was March 31st.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, you know, the movie The Perfect Storm, like it's pretty much that in the snow. Like it's unreal.
Yeah. I think actually, like, going back to Tahoe this past winter, I'm sure you guys probably paid a little bit of attention to it, but like they had so many insane storms of that magnitude this March. Truly unbelievable. I was there. I unfortunately was trying to do a 10-day trip, and ended up having only 4 hours to ski the entire time I was there.
Oh, what happened?
It was just so snowy, like everything was closed. But I think like part of
Too
that
much
is
snow.
it's like it sounds like the opposite of too good to be true, but like
Yeah.
Right.
it's really just it's so bad.
Snowmageddon.
Like we weren't sure whether we were going to lose power. We didn't know whether we'd be stuck inside our Airbnb for it was me and one other friend. So we didn't know whether we were going to be stuck in our Airbnb with no way to get out, which by the way was a single room for 4 days.
Wow.
And then
It's like
we
The Shining.
no, the Shining had a whole hotel, which by the way,
This is true.
There's room
facade
to
of
move in The
that-
Shining.
the facade of that was the Timberline Lodge Hotel in Oregon, which you guys should go stay at some point. It's completely amazing.
Nice.
But
Nice.
I did say I wasn't going to plug any hotels or resorts, but
It's
when
for
all that-
different reasons.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I think like the thing about you know the way that what happened in March reminds me of the Buried documentary is the fact that there was so much avalanche mitigation work that was going on at those resorts. And I think they were really, really conservative with their openings. Like a lot of the resorts either didn't open or only opened like very small parts of their footprint during those particularly crazy storms. So like Palisades, their Red Dog lift was like the only lift open one of the days we were there. And it was only open. They might have closed early because of the storm. But I think because of like, you know, the lessons they learned from the avalanche in the 80s, that could influence like the mitigation and safety precautions they have in place today.
Yeah, and they were saying too that, you know, I'm not gonna talk too much about it because you guys definitely need to check it out. But they said that was one of the first places that actually had like an avalanche forecaster, and they put these like, you know, these sheets together documenting everything that they were, you know, encountering, just so they could be ready. Because as you said, the way everything was shaped in it, it was just almost like setting themselves up if something did happen for a disaster, and kind of learning from that eventually.
Yeah, it's truly like it's tragic that happened, but it really set the stage for a lot of investments in the future. And like, I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I might be getting into the topic of the documentary, but I'm definitely excited to watch it.
Yeah, it's cool. And you know, they talk about a lot of the ammunition, the dynamite they used, and there's another cool documentary out from Ski Utah called The Last Gunners. But they're showing like this is, you know, kind of the last group of folks that's using the artillery because they're using all the different what is it, the signal thing that they're using now. I can't remember what it's
Are they
called.
using like the
Yeah.
sonic? It's like a
The World War
sonic-
II artillery, and they're actually, I believe, Solitude at least. I think a couple other resorts might be as well, but they're actually replacing those with like much more modern like avalanche mitigation tools this year.
Yeah, Alto's a big one too. That one they're using it. They've stopped using that stuff on too. Yeah, there's a quick little the documentary is about Alta, and you know, talking about last year how they had all those, you know, all that issues up on the Little Cottonwood and all the avalanche problems. So yeah, they're talking about the new technology that they're using, and it's in this documentary. No longer using howitzers, unfortunately, which as someone, you know, as a young man who loved explosives and as an older young man who still likes explosives, it's kind of sad in a way.
Well, they're probably on the market.
That's you have your own personal avalanche mitigation device. This is not a cannon, honey. This is an avalanche mitigation device.
There you go.
Hey,
You got
I
to
mean,
save it just for those days when the other stuff isn't working. You break out the guns, break out the big guns.
yeah.
Yeah, they're using
Mario,
those
what if
whistles.
it like makes it? What if an avalanche makes its way to Florida? You got to be prepared.
Oh, I got to be prepared. This is where I'm stocking up now.
You have a
I'll be the guy
snowcat.
you call up, like, Mary, can you come up here? Like, bring the big gun. Like, we have an avalanche that we can't clear.
You got a
I'll
snowcat
fly
and
in.
a howitzer
I mean,
ready to
you
go.
guys are overdue for one, right?
Be like the A-team, just fly in on the helicopters. Boom, boom, get some avalanche, get some.
Just make it happen.
Just
So you
blowing
also
shit
mentioned
up.
too, while you were at Cornell, trip planning. Now, do you guys still offer trip planning packages now?
Yeah. So I'll get a little bit into that. So, I actually I hate to do this, but I gotta like go back a little bit in time before getting into the trip planning stuff. Um, so we had this website. It was around March or April 2020. Website was up. We actually ended up deprecating the first website because building a website from scratch was a terrible not only SEO play but just like play for mobile. And then we realized, oh, there are actual content management systems where you don't have to build this stuff from scratch. Like once we realized it, it was such a no-brainer. But in like 2 or 3 weeks, we rebuilt the website in Squarespace, which is actually why we're having so many issues with like adding filters to our rankings now. But like at the time, it was a game changer. So we basically had this website and we were trying to figure out how to grow like our following. And we were like, okay, let's just take all the ideas that we have for growth and just throw them at a wall and see what sticks. So at the time, we started like going really aggressively on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, writing articles in a way that were designed to get attention, like mainly picking up things that other people weren't covering. So like for example, like Vail deciding to get rid of trail maps, which we actually had to correct, unfortunately. Like we said they axed all of their trail maps, but it turned out they did have trail maps if you went up to the window, and they had them in like very limited availability. But like we were reported on that. We got like some traction from that. We also got some traction from reporting on fast tracks. So that was like Killington Copper, Mount Bachelor, and Snowbird, like
yeah.
basically allowing people to skip the lines by paying. So we wrote an article on that. That one went actually really got a ton of traction.
Nice.
And then kind of we realized, okay, this is cool, but we're still only getting about like 6,000 unique visitors a month. So we kind of need to do something a little bit more substantial in order to try to grow the audience. And the other thing was I noticed people weren't reading the reviews. The reviews were literally just text. That was it. No visuals, nothing like that. No one was reading the reviews. People were just reading these really clickbaity articles. But I was like, okay, these are high quality reviews, and we put a lot of effort into them. So
people just coming for the garbage. It's like making a nice fancy dinner, and everyone's just pigging out on chips and salsa.
Exactly.
Right.
And like
Where
we're
the
like,
fries?
okay, there's a huge opportunity here. There's like a huge opportunity, and I think what we needed to do was we were brand new. We had like we didn't get any funding or anything like that. And like we had like no way to put ourselves out there except organically. So we were like, okay, why don't we try YouTube? And in this case, we'll literally record a voiceover of our like scripts of literally the essays we've written for all these mountains. Then we'll just put up like corresponding clips that show exactly what we're talking about. And YouTube like immediately became, not immediately, but like pretty quickly it became clear that was already the biggest channel. I think within the first month, we already had more views on YouTube than we did on our entire website.
Wow.
So after that, we kind of realized like, okay, YouTube is a really critical way to grow this. We need to like start making content that's more specific to YouTube. I specifically went out and just tried posting like at least twice a week. So I would go like and do a point of view run at like North Star or Kirkwood or Squaw Valley at the time, because I lived in Tahoe. So I was like, okay, this is the one thing I can take advantage of by living here during the pandemic. Just get as much content out as possible. Like the point of view videos didn't do super well, but then the mountain review videos, which at the time took a ton of time to put together because I was doing most of the editing. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was just figuring it out all in iMovie, which like I just cringe at the fact that I was doing this all in iMovie for way longer than I should have. And like it just eventually like people were just finding these videos through YouTube search. And the one that really took off at first was Kirkwood, because no one else had any video reviews of Kirkwood.
Wow.
So like if you went into YouTube search, we were probably like third or fourth within the first month.
Wow.
And so like the video was fine. It was like whatever, but it was pretty honest and it wasn't sugar coated. And I think just having that was like, for the people who are willing to bear through like the terrible audio quality. And I do apologize to the people who are, watching this now, because we haven't redone our Kirkwood review. Although we are going to start redoing some of our older video reviews at some point this year. But like, I think the fact that they just existed, like no one else was doing it, even more than no one else was doing like ski resort rankings on a website. And so like, long story short, YouTube became like not only like a very primary source of our growth, but ultimately became like our number one revenue stream. And as of right now, like the whole reason I'm able to like do Peak Rankings full time is because of the YouTube AdSense revenue that the business gets.
Wow.
So it's pretty crazy what YouTube can do for you. But YouTube is also an incredibly fickle and stressful industry to be working in. You can like put up a video, think it's gonna like blow up, and then it'll completely flop. The opposite can happen. You can like put up a video that you're like, okay, I'm just gonna put this up because like I know my fans will like it. Then it'll suddenly like go viral. You never really know. Like you can do things to kind of plan for that type of stuff, but you never fully know. And I think as soon as like the capital from YouTube started getting to the point where it made sense to maybe start investing in other things, like specifically me being able to take this full time, the initial thing I started thinking was, okay, I need to figure out how to diversify this revenue so that YouTube is not the only way that Peak Rankings is making money. There needs to be another way. What if YouTube closes shop? Like extremely unlikely, but what if like YouTube closes shop tomorrow?
Change the algorithm.
Or they change their algorithm, or like they change their partner program. Like I could be completely screwed. And like now that I have, like some part-time employees working for me, I could completely screw those people over too. Like there needs, like as someone who's running a business, I need to be more responsible than that in order to like be like the steward of the long-term growth here. So the thing I started thinking was, okay, what will people actually pay for? How can I like get another source of revenue that's not dependent on social media? And so the thing that I'd gotten a lot of feedback on was like, okay, a lot of this stuff. We would potentially pay for you to plan our trips. And so that is essentially how Peak Rankings Trips was born. And that is our trip planning service where we will, for a $99 deposit, which you will get back if you book your accommodation through us, we will plan every aspect of your trip, including, your accommodation, your lodging, your lesson, your like flights, things like that. And we're just trying to see like whether people will pay for it. I don't think like this will be the pricing structure or, like the way we'll do things forever. In case you're listening to this like a year from now, we could have completely changed the model, but you need to start somewhere. We have gotten bookings, so we know that some people are already interested. But I think like now that we're at the point where we've had a couple people go through, we've had some people drop off. But we have had successful bookings, and we're getting to the point where we know kind of what people want. We're learning about, like how a person's budget corresponds to like how much they want to spend on what aspects of their trip. And honestly, like maybe one of the best parts about this is because like I specifically and some of the other people who I've like contracted out to kind of help with the reviews, I've been going to these mountains specifically to get as much video footage as possible for the last 2 years. So I've kind of like instinctively changed my travel habits compared to like the average person. So talking to these people on a daily basis and hearing what's actually important to them in terms of their trips is just such like a reality check whenever it comes to like, what do people care about? Why are they trying to spend money here? Why do they care about this resort versus this resort? What do large groups care about that small groups don't? What is like someone who wants a lesson like specifically going to need to plan for in terms of budget versus someone who doesn't? It's just all this stuff. So we're offering our expertise and we're learning a lot from it. I think, given the limitations of only how much there's only so much content that we can put out to a general audience and tailor it to that audience. Like, I think what we've learned most of all is the best advice we can give, and honestly the biggest both quality and money saving tips we have given people have been after getting them on the phone, or like learning a little bit more about their situation and being able to tell them like, you should go to this mountain for this very specific date because you have like this circumstance or you want to do this very specific thing. So I think we've realized, like, at least for me, I've been just specializing in reviewing ski resorts for 4 years, and there's much more that like me and the folks that I'm now working with can offer than just like putting up like rankings and reviews and like YouTube videos. Like, I think one of the things we inadvertently did was we really, really hammered in on the quality of our content. And
Nice.
that didn't even like occur to us as like that. I think that was just like at least for me, that was like, okay, you know what? That's just a standard. Like, we're not going to like shell ourselves out because like, why would we do that? Like it would.
Do you ever get like, do you ever get any resorts or ski mountains or anybody like give you crap for the rankings that you gave them?
Yeah, a couple times. I had Loveland reach out once, and they were not happy about the resiliency score, maybe snow score we gave them. They weren't happy that we like said their snow wasn't as good as like some of the other Colorado resorts because their snow totals are the highest. But the huge problem with Loveland, and it is a great resort if you go on a good day, but the huge problem with Loveland is that it is extremely wind exposed. And like, I can't quote the exact acreage amount, but the percentage of the footprint that's above tree line is just so much higher than a lot of the other resorts in Colorado. It's right on the Continental Divide, so there's nothing above it. So it's profoundly wind exposed, and the bulk of the mountain, well, not the bulk of it, but like a very large percentage of it faces like south or east, which makes for not great snow retention. So you just have all these factors that are working against it if it hasn't snowed in the last few days. And we've been there on days when like we've just skied over rocks and like the bowls are more like a skating rink than an actual ski resort.
Wow.
And it just, I don't know, it's like not Loveland's fault, but it's just kind of how it is. And there's a reason why Loveland specifically hasn't, transformed into a destination ski resort. And there's just more than elevation or annual average snowfall totals that like make a ski resort a high quality place to like build out and attract a good group of people. Breckenridge honestly has the same problem to a certain extent, not to the same degree, but their Imperial Bowl, that one is subject to closure too. Breckenridge faces a lot of it faces east, so like it's in the Northeast. You have so few mountains that face anything other than north because like Mother Nature just won't let it happen. But like if you're in the West Coast, you have like those circumstances as well. That's also like I think part of the reason why a lot of Northeast resorts don't have like back bowls, because you can really only face in like a handful of directions before the whole operation starts to fall apart.
Yeah, and that's we kind of talked about it before the official podcast started. Is that a lot of times the nice thing about rankings is that there is a winner and there is a loser, and unfortunately, people don't like to lose. And perhaps like in this situation, it's not their fault. Like nature sort of played their hand, gave them a hand to play, and they had to play it. And you and all your people who go there may tell you how amazing it is, but if you do break things down and you give it an honest, you've honest, objective criteria, and it falls down towards the bottom, that's just the way it is. And again, a lot of people just are not used to criticism in that regard. And that's why I think something like what you're doing is great, because there is an objectivity to it. There's definitely some subjectivity. I mean, people always have there's always going to be a personal twist.
There's no way to do anything
possible
objective.
Right. Yeah. But you at least have objective criteria to start with.
Yeah. Even if you want to go to like, you take the rankings and you say, I don't really care what it's ranked. I love this place. Right. And then you want to plan a trip there. Right. Like, so you're having an experience where you're planning trips. Maybe it's not the best place to go, but you're going to try to book the best experience they can have at that place. Right. And it's kind of navigating through the best of that area then, Yeah,
exactly. Cool. Like when we get on the phone with people, we'll tell them like, hey, this place isn't ranked that highly in these rankings, but for your specific circumstance, you should still go there. Like, for example, if someone wants like specifically a ski town and they want like family friendliness and like a good learning area, and they want a childcare facility, we'll recommend Steamboat, even though it's ranked, I think it might be 11th in our Colorado rankings. It's also like off the I-70 corridor. So, it's like you're not gonna be dealing with quite as many like people in town, even if the lift setup, at least through last season, had a number of flaws, but they are addressing a couple things this year. So I can't speak for people who are going this year. But yeah, we'll still like recommend places that we personally, I personally wouldn't spend my money on for my specific needs, but everyone's needs are different. I think for the most part, ski resorts that are still in business are in business because people are enjoying them. It's not like people who are spending $200 per day on these mountains every year are like doing it because they aren't like they're not doing their due diligence. Like if they were having a terrible time at these mountains, they wouldn't be going back. Or if they are, it's probably because they're really convenient to like a major metropolitan area.
Well, and we've all been part of it too. Like you think you're going to have the best time going to this resort and it's crap snow, right? Like it's just Mother Nature comes in and you could be going to one of the crummiest places on earth, but you get this powder dumping and that's what you're looking for. You're like, this is one of the best ski times I ever had, Yeah,
exactly. Like I will actually say one of my best days at like a ski resort this winter was at Loveland. We got literally like, this was April 1st. We got a 12-inch, like straight up out of nowhere powder dump. And it just happened to be the day that we were going to get Loveland video review footage. So nice. Loveland, even though it didn't do that well in our rankings, they did luck out, and we will be putting up a bunch of powder footage when that video comes out. On the other hand, we went to Whistler twice this year, and we spent 5 days. We did not have a single clear day the entire time we were there.
You got to go with me.
Mario is the only person who's gone to Whistler and had sunny days almost every day.
Bluebird days on 3 separate trips.
the last time I went, it like rained. But before I started peak rankings, like in February 2019, I spent an entire week at Whistler. It was pristine the entire time.
See,
But
Yeah.
it's crazy.
My first
Um,
trip there, I remember we had, I think, 5 minutes of sun
Mhm.
in the whole week we were there.
I know, it's crazy. So when we started peak rankings, one of the other things I did was I just started calling locals. Literally, I would just call ski shops and I'd be like, "Hey, is this review accurate?" And I would just ask them if they would be willing to like listen or read the review. And like one of the reviews that we had to adjust a ton was Whistler because we ranked it too highly for snow because we got just such a good experience. So we didn't account for like how bad the rain and like visibility could actually be, and how bad like the crowds could be. Like literally, I have to admit, like I don't think we actually got crowds right for Whistler until this season. Like if you go back to our rankings adjustments, you'll see we downgraded rankings Whistler's crowd flow score by 3 points over the last 3 years. I think part of that is due to like actual trends since COVID, but part of it was we genuinely just did not get like Whistler's crowding right. Like we somehow did not wait in any lines, and we had Bluebird powder days every day we were there. But like that's not how a mountain that's an hour and a half from Vancouver is going to be, even if it's 8,100 acres.
Well, that was like Tremblant. I went and I think it was a Friday. I went like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or something like that, and Sunday. And I'll never forget Friday. I heard these people talking, and I guess they come up quite a bit, and they were talking about how they're going to do all this other stuff the next day. And I'm like, "You guys aren't going to ski?" Like, "Oh no, we never ski on the weekend." And I'm like, "Okay," and I didn't think anything of it. And then I get out there on that Saturday, and there was like an hour and a half line to get on the gondola. It's like, holy crap, that is why nobody's skiing, you know?
Yeah, with Tremblant, like having done that trip I basically did that trip 4 years in a row. I think I got the brunt of the crowds every time I went. But the good thing is if you don't care about the cold, the north side is always less crowded.
Yeah.
But everyone will just take the gondola if it's like, negative 17 degrees Celsius, which is like 0 degrees Fahrenheit. Because like, I mean, there are 2 other ways to get up to this summit, but you just don't want to take them. They're just like really undesirable, and people will self-select at Tremblant. That's the one redeeming factor about it.
So now, cool. With the trips, so are you guys do you offer trips now, or is it just, are you planning them for different groups?
That is an excellent question. We offered trips in a very limited fashion this year. We are running a group trip to Utah from March 17th to March 23rd. It is currently completely full. I will be giving a tour of, just kind of how to do, like the Salt Lake City area as a ski trip. And then we'll probably have groups that are going to like Alta, Snowbird, Snow Basin, Brighton and Solitude. And I will probably be doing all of the hikes at all of those mountains, and the people who want to follow me can come along. But we're staying in a really sick house. We're going to it's going to be like a communal house. It's going to have indoor pool, private pool, private sauna, game room. It's going to have 2 kitchens. It's going to be sick. We're also going to try to do a couple of communal activities, but not necessarily just typical Opry activities. Like obviously we might do the steak dinner at Snowbird. Maybe we'll do that. But I think we're going to honestly just stick to some of the Salt Lake activities as well. Like we might go to a Utah Jazz game, or we might do a hibachi dinner. We're also literally just entirely by coincidence, and I only learned this because of the Snowbound Expo, to just tie everything back together. The U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame induction ceremony is actually going to be happening while we are there. So there's a black tie gala. And I was thinking, okay, this might be kind of fun to go to. It's like it's kind of
In Park
expensive.
City, right?
Yeah, but it's like $175.
You got to
don't
do
really
the
get-
Lloyd. You got to do the Dumb and Dumber tuxedos and go to that thing.
Yeah, I mean, like, what other opportunity do you have to go to like a black tie gala for
Yeah.
like
Powder blue and
ski
orange
re-
tuxedos.
ski resorted thing? It's a crazy opportunity, and like some of my friend, like the trip is going to be like, like 75% people I've never met in my life,
Cool.
which is gonna be interesting. It's gonna be like a I think my biggest worry is like, are people gonna get along? I do think because like people who like to ski tend to be pretty chill people. I think we'll probably be good, and like everyone's gonna most of the people on the trip are going to be like advanced or experts. The other 25% are just a couple of my friends who wanted to see what the trip would be like. And those are also like the only people who are going on the trip who are like true beginners. So I'm very curious to see like what they think of like this ski scene, and like whether they'll ever go on a trip like this again. But
You can have a live cam going from the house.
I think it might be cool to like do some sort of vlog thing.
Yeah.
Just,
yeah,
like,
you gotta.
I think hyping this stuff up for next season. Like the goal is like, if this does well, I'm
Next
happy
week,
to-
Urban Ski Week. That's what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to lead. If this goes well, I'm happy to lead like one of these a year. But it's possible that if people really like this, that it might be a good idea. This might be guided ski trips might be a better idea to expand into than just like doing like these trip planning itineraries.
Yeah.
We don't know. We got to throw things at a wall and see what sticks. Just like when we started YouTube, like we had no idea if that was going to take off or not. Like we gave it just as much of a chance as we gave to like Instagram and Twitter, and those types of things. Like TikTok is the one thing that we actually probably should still invest more time into. But like in terms of like social media, that's one thing. In terms of trip planning, that's another thing. So we're looking into all the options we can feasibly take on without overextending ourselves. But I do think there is a market both for guided and non-guided trip planning, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
Cool.
one of our first forays into the ski world was through our local ski club, and that's where kind of Mario and I went on a bunch of our first epic European trips and out west was with the Hoboken Ski Club, and we're still in contact with a bunch of folks from there, and one of the guys who was our kind of trip leader for the Zermatt trip is like, hey, if you ever want to start setting up these little trips, like I can help you get these started because I have the expertise. And it's something we've thought about a lot too, is like, how do we, like imagine just getting like a group of, 10 or 20 people and doing like
2024.
Yeah. Like that's what like people have been asking that. Like that would be like a really
Ski bum
cool experience,
ski
like, like again, again, you don't want it to be too big. So you want to actually have like FaceTime and be able to, if you do want to go on like a bit of a gnarly hike or something, you want to be able to not have it be too crazy. It's like, oh, we got 15 people coming together. It's like, this is not really
that's not gonna work.
Ideal scenario. But that really, I mean, talk about like a bonding opportunity with listeners, fans. I mean, that seems to be like the ultimate for both hosts and for fans to come together.
Yeah, for sure. It's also going to be really interesting because like I haven't met that many of like my quote unquote like fans. It's I think last time I bumped into someone who recognized me like was on the slopes in like maybe March or April, and since then the channel has basically doubled in terms of viewership and almost doubled in terms of subscribers. So it's going to be interesting.
Wow. Nice.
To see like what people think of the Peak Rankings brand when we go and we spend time with them. You
may get some groupies out of it. You never know. Groupies, stalkers. You get a mix of
we'll see.
Kind of a mix.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They say you never really made it unless you get a stalker, right?
Oh,
Is that what they say?
Well, Sam,
Okay.
if people do want to
Okay.
become fans and or stalkers, how
Mhm.
do they find you?
Yes, that is an excellent question. So, peakrankings.com, go and check out independent alpine ratings and reviews of over 90 North American ski resorts. You can also check out our YouTube channel. You can check out our Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And then we also have, our trip planning service. So if you're interested in booking a trip with us, the flow may have changed since the recording, but go to peakrankings.com/trips and we'll have all the information about how we can book the best possible ski trip for you.
Excellent.
Cool.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for your time, and good luck and continued success with Peak Rankings.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Sam.
Brian. Thanks, Mario. Really appreciate it.
Our pleasure. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Take care.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll have all the list of links. You can get all of the info at skibumpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate it. Check us out, skibumpodcast.com. Send us an email, skibumpodcast@gmail.com. If you want stickers, you want to make comments, you can do all that. Follow us on the socials, X, Instagram, Facebook, Untapped, YouTube. We are at Ski Bum Podcast. Go to our Patreon. Support us.
Patreon it
Patreon.com/Ski Bum Podcast. Join us. Be one of us. Help us out. We'd appreciate that. Need some gear to work out? 10,000.cc. Go there, get some gear. Use the code BSchneider15, 15% off. Thank you again so much for listening. We do appreciate it. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
Stay high, stay fluid.
See ya.